Greetings, mortal.
Everyone knows the Doom games, but not everyone plans to look back at the classic where it all began. So here I am, with whatever YouTube editing and clowning skills I have, to talk about one of the most culturally influential first-person shooters of all time. The impact of Doom was so hard that there's literally a book written about it, appropriately titled Masters of Doom: How Two Guys Created an Empire and Transformed the Pop Culture. The two guys in question are the two Johns. They are John Romero and John Carmack. And the game they created, along with their whole team, is truly a timeless classic, as it's still as fun to play in 2023 as it was 30 years ago. Yes, today marks the 30th anniversary of Doom, and this game is like that one cool uncle who's always cool, no matter how old he is. In a vapid world of creative emptiness, these games and their simplicity, and by these games I do mean games that are similar to Doom, they are what I consider to be a shining beacon in the game development industry. Games in the past didn't have to pretend to be something epic. They didn't have to rely on shady marketing tactics to sell. They were epic, and they sold like hotcakes, because games back then were just about making you feel like the love child of Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and Ash from the Evil Dead. A single segment of this video doesn't do you guys justice, so how about you stay out of this one? Love you though. So I started going down the Doom rabbit hole back in 2019, and I finally have enough motivation to start creating content on it on my own. Let's take it from the top and start with the first Doom game. I'm going to make a separate video for Doom 2 because obviously
Doom 2 is just such a bigger, badder, better version of Doom.
The version I'm covering is Ultimate Doom, which contains 3 main episodes: Knee Deep in the Dead, The Shores of Hell, and Inferno. I was planning to include Thy Flesh Consumed, but I was too busy with life to record footage for that or prepare a different segment for that, so that one will have to stay out of this video. There was a new episode released for the first Doom game back in 2019 called Sigil. Yes, the game is so cool that even after almost 30 years, John Romero, the absolute mad lad, decided to release a whole damn episode for it. It's that good. Also, there's a sequel for Sigil out now as well, so Sigil will be getting its own video. Stay tuned for that. The true granddaddy of all FPS games is technically Wolfenstein 3D, which started the trend for strafing around at breakneck speeds and mowing down anything in the map that was moving with automatic gunfire, which also was created by the same developers, id Software. But Doom is where the idea became more mainstream and took over the world by storm. Everyone was talking about Doom. It reached the point that more computers had Doom installed than Windows. People didn't care that they had to deal with the archaic MS-DOS as long as they could play Doom on it. Oh, and this fancy first-person shooters you play these days, none of this would basically exist if Doom hadn't been popular enough. Taking Doom out of the equation is like time traveling to the past and taking out your past self so the future, or the present for that matter, doesn't exist. Hell, even the concept of speedrunning became mainstream with communities and such with Doom. Doom is what kicked off a whole genre and made it mainstream in the gaming industry. Why do you think there are several iconic FPS games that are from the mid to late 90s? And why do you think every FPS game after it was called Doom clone? Because it was so magnificent that everything came after it felt like an imitation, and they had to go far and beyond to make themselves look and feel unique. Doom set the bar so high that others had to rocket jump past said bar to even reach the bare minimum. That's a reference you guys won't get either till you played Quake or know what rocket jumping is. Doom got the ball rolling, and the later games were all trying their best to one-up the previous one to stay competitive and appeal to the gamers by being as awesome as they could be. And for me, personally, I think they all succeeded. Because even after all these years, even after all these fancy game publications, these are something me and many others go back to like a comfort zone. And these games are still being talked about to this day. Of course, a game is incomplete without the right kind of sounds. All the soundtracks and sound effects present in the game were created by Bobby Prince with direction from John Romero. The soundtrack takes inspiration from popular old school rock and metal bands like Alice in Chains, Pantera, and Metallica. While the classic soundtracks have been memed to a certain extent,
Whoa! What? It's milk!
they are still pretty iconic and there are some pretty cool ones. You are a marine posted on Phobos, which is a moon of Mars. Due to science fiction stuff, demons have invaded the research facility you are stationed on, and everyone is already dead. So your objective is... well, other than that, you have to find out what's causing this invasion and see if you can stop it. So you start on a journey. You start at the UAC base, fighting through the hordes of demons and trying to figure out what went wrong. Though the game tries to do visual storytelling through textures, the summary of it all, the scientists were trying to figure out teleportation technology and they opened a portal to hell itself. Demons came out and killed everybody, and finally they have a proper excuse to invade our existence and bring hell on earth. Once you go through enough demons and different parts of the base itself, you start to realize the only way to stop them is to stop them at the source. So you find your way to hell to take on the root of all evil and stop the invasion forever. But we all know the Doom games and we all know that this is not the end of the invasion, but it is just the beginning. In fact, it's the birth of one of the greatest superheroes to grace the video game screen,
The Doom Slayer.
Most of the maps in the game were designed by Sandy Peterson. He created 8 maps from some early drafts that were from Tom Hall. The only map in this game made by John Romero is the final map of the first episode, Phobos Anomaly. Each episode has its own design choice, and the design choice is very thematic and the aesthetic always fits. The backdrops and your surroundings will always match to create a feel for the place you are in, and when you think that they did all that with game engines that aren't even fully 3D, it's really cool. The design of all 3 episodes are consistent by themselves, starting from sci-fi tech base to fleshy and blood-soaked hellscapes. The maps have doors, elevators, and platforms that are activated by either direct interaction or through switches and keycards found in the level. You will find 3 different colors of keycards in each level: blue, yellow, and red. These are for accessing different kind of doors, marked by the same colors. Later on, you'll start finding skull keys instead of key cards, but with the same color code and the same purpose. The maps in Doom are kind of self-explanatory. The map designs are kept in a way that there's a lot to explore if you want to, but you can race for the finish by taking out enemies that are getting in the way. The map design, for most parts, is rather closed up to give you the claustrophobic feeling that you're fighting demons in a confined space, so you have to calculate your moves. While there are a few maps that give you more room to move around, it's mostly mid to small rooms packed with different demons. There is also an auto map which will automatically fill the empty places once you walk through that area. I didn't have to use it till much later episodes. The enemy roster of Doom is limited compared to Doom 2, but they are used in just the right way to give you the feeling that you are getting overwhelmed by the demon forces. As the levels progress, the game will keep introducing more powerful demons, and each episode will end in a boss fight with the most powerful enemy that episode has to offer. You start the first map by encountering 3 enemy types: the zombie gunner, the shotgun sergeant, and imps. The zombie gunner fires single shots, imps throw slow-moving fireballs. But the shotgunner can be the deadliest, since you can dodge the imp's fireball but not the shotgunners, because the shotgunners are hit scan, meaning as soon as they fire their weapon, it's going to hit you if you are in their point of view, so you'll get hit faster than you can see demons. and if all the shotgun pellets hit you, you'll be done in 2 shots max. The first level starts with the very first weapon, the pistol. If you're playing on UV, ultraviolence, you're gonna use this weapon for less than 15 seconds because you face 2 shotgun sergeants in the first room you enter and get the shotgun from them. You won't miss the pistol at all because it's terrible and it takes ages to kill anything with it. Also, the worst part of the shotgun is the damage is completely random. A single shotgun blast will either kill or create a slight inconvenience for an imp. The first map also introduces you to another staple of the map design, the secrets. In the first secret, you can get one of the major pickups of the game, the Mega Armor. This pickup gives you 200 armor points. Aside from that, the skulls give you 1 point of armor and the blue vials offer 1 single point of health. The small medkit is 10 health points and the big medkit is 25 health points. Let's skip all the pleasantries because it's all just about collecting items, going to places, and killing demons, of course. Fast forward to Toxin Refinery and you get introduced to a new demon and its 2 different variants, the Pinky Demon and the Spectre. The regular Pinky, as the name suggests, is pink and will charge at you and try to bite you. The other variant is invisible and they're called Spectre, and their attack pattern is the same as regular Pinkies. The Pinky is where you can feel the inconsistency of the shotgun kick in, as it can either take 2 to 3 shots to take 1 down. If you're lucky, it might even take 1. There is a 3-in-1 secret in the Toxic Refinery that will introduce you to the Supercharge, which will add 100 points to your current health pool but will max out at 200. Another secret also introduces you to 2 new pickups and 2 new weapons. Pickup 1, the security armor that gives you 100 points of armor. Weapon number 1, the rocket launch. Pickup 2, a backpack that will double your maximum ammo capacity. Weapon 2, the chain gun. The chain gun is your first rapid fire weapon and it's best for keeping enemies stunned so they can't damage you. As you keep moving forward, you will face more and more enemies and the maps will become more complex. This is where lies one of Doom's negatives. While the maps are well designed, they can be too maze-like to navigate through, and it can be quite off-putting for most casual players who just want to experience the whole thing. Central processing is where you find the night vision goggles for the first time, and as the name suggests, it allows you to see in the dark. From this point on, you are getting into bigger gunfights, and the game is giving you the hint that you're slowly moving deeper and deeper into the facility, and there's no turning back anymore. Finally, Phobos Anomaly is where the first episode ends, and the bosses of this episode are called the Barons of Hell. The game also throws pinkies at you to make it as tough as possible. This map also has an invisibility power-up in the corner, but I feel like it doesn't work properly for some reason. Maybe it's just me, because the demons sometimes still hit you. But if you push through and finish the fight, you get to a teleporter to get to Demos, after climbing a long and slow staircase. The demons ambush you and beat you to an inch of your death, and you wake up at... The second episode is also within the UAC base, but from the start you can see the structures are slowly warping into something hellish, with ghastly veins, dried up tree roots, and skulls slowly replacing regular keycards. This episode introduces you to cacodemons in the first map, Demos Anomaly. They float, shoot slow-moving projectiles, and soak up a lot of damage before going down. They can also bite you if they get too close. The next map, Containment Area, introduces you to one of the coolest pickups ever, the Berserk. When you pick it up, it recharges your health back to 100 and supercharges your punches, meaning you basically turn the game into a sci-fi version of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But it only lasts till the map ends, and you should keep your eye out to find the Berserk in every map to save ammo as much as possible. In the next map, Refinery, you'll see that the Barons are now starting to appear as common enemies. Of course, the fights from here on out are gonna be pretty lengthy, and you gotta find a balance between using the Berserk or your guns. The map also brings lost souls in the mix, flying skeleton heads that are absolutely annoying to deal with. The solution is either chain gun to keep them stunned, or the shotgun, or the pulse rifle that you get from a secret in this map as well. Look, you might be able to get it in another secret much earlier before this, but I don't know, okay? I'm not a pro at this yet. Let's move on. The plasma rifle is another rapid fire weapon, but with higher damage output compared to the chain gun, and it's better effective against larger enemies and bosses. But this is the part where the negatives of the game start showing up once again. You're constantly worrying about ammo shortage, forcing you to revert back to the shotgun mostly, because that's what you get the most ammo for. So unless you find the berserk, you're pretty much screwed. For me, the monotonous rhythmic sound of the shotgun was kind of sleep-inducing for some weird reason, which made it much harder for me to record from this point on. Is that normal, or is it just me? I don't know, let me know in the comments. Command Center is the map where my no-death run came to die. No, I mean literally, I died multiple times on this map and got so frustrated that I put off recording clips for a good while. The next map, Halls of the Damned. These halls really be damned. It's like the game starts being unreasonable with demon spawns at this point. Of course, I died here enough times to make a compilation out of it as well. These negatives are what kind of kill the replayability of Doom unless you're exceptionally good and you're willing to push through the hardship and you know what you're doing. The only way I could move forward from this point on was
Focus, commitment, sheer will.
the next map, however, makes up for it by offering you the best power-up of this game, the invincibility. Nothing damages you for a set amount of time, so you can get up close and personal to settle any unfinished business. Moving onward, the final map of the episode is the Tower of Babel. You thought the Barons were the toughest, so the map starts with a visual warning with a bunch of dead Barons indicating that something worse is coming. And then of course you're met with the Cyber Demon. And the most annoying enemy of them all, the Lost Souls. Again. I would have finished the entire fight with 0 damage if one of the Lost Souls hadn't scratched me accidentally. As an end of the episode boss, the Cyber Demon is honestly quite miserable. I'm not that well versed with boss fights in old games like these, but even then, I got out quite easily. You get tons of space to move around and enough rockets to deal with him properly. And his rockets move slow enough for you to dodge out of the way without any hassle. And since we couldn't have animated cutscenes until much later on, you get some texts describing what's happening instead, indicating the end of the level. The third episode is where the game goes all out to make you realize that yes, the fecal matter has hit the turbine jet and you're in hell now. And there's no going back. All the structures are broken down, there's rotten meat and rivers of blood everywhere. The only game that in recent time could capture the hellish feel for me like Doom was somehow an entirely different game from an entirely different genre, Diablo 4. If you played that game and felt that way, you know how the gamers felt back in the day after reaching Inferno. This episode takes place in hell, and the developers spared no effort to give you the complete feel of fighting through literal hell till the game ends. Remember I once said the pistol takes ages to kill anything? The game will sit you down and prove it to you by making you kill cacodemons with it. The next map, Slough of Despair, is the most annoying map ever. Though the design is pretty cool, it looks like the shape of a demonic claw and all that. But yeah, this map was pretty annoying. The next map, Pandemonium, is where you get the final and the best weapon to exist anywhere ever, right after the super shotgun from Doom 2, the BFG. It stands for Big F-word Gun, and the gun really is that big. It uses the same ammo as the pulse rifle, and it's great for cleaning entire rooms. But there's a gimmick to this gun. The damage of the BFG goes to the direction you're moving while firing it, so learning to angle it properly and moving to the right direction when firing the weapon can be quite effective.
No shit.
From this point on, the game becomes a slogfest because you are having to kill everything that comes your way with less damaging weapons, since you don't have enough ammo for the big guns and there are too many enemies. It's just fights and more fights against hordes of enemies to the point the action becomes exhausting. The same kind of feeling I had when watching John Wick 4. I mean, I love watching the guy taking on everything and everyone, but at one point of the movie, even you start feeling exhausted from watching him go through all that. At this point, I was just pushing through, and the recording was also done into multiple segments to preserve my sanity to a certain extent. The second half of Inferno gets really stretched out with huge maps and complex layouts, with tons of stuff to find, and unless you played the map multiple times, you wouldn't know where to go. Remember when you had to pistol cacodemons? Yeah, you're brought back to the same map again, but this time with proper weapons. The ending also makes it worth it, because the exit portal doesn't end the level. Instead, it lowers a wall, reveals another cyber demon, and gives you an invincibility to live out your power fantasy for a moment. After running back through the whole level, fighting another horde with another invincibility pickup. Damn, it's like the developers are apologizing for making you start this map with a pistol. You come to realize that the exit door is right where the level starts. Once you're past the next big maze with lots of demons, you finally reach the mastermind behind all of it, the Spider Mastermind. This fight is also easy, since you get a ton of space to move around, and you have enough ammo to take it down. And of course, we are once again back to texts to take over for the cutscenes. From that, we find out that some demons might have come through the escape doorway with you, which you used to get out of hell back to Earth, and it officially sets up the sequel. The end credits scene also features the subject of 100 Doom memes, Doom Guy's pet rabbit, Daisy's head.
On the stick.
By the way, I'm not joking when I say that Daisy is canon. You can even find a portrait of Doom Guy holding Daisy in the game Doom Eternal in his hideout, solidifying this as a Now that we know about the game and all the details, how does Doom Guy fit in all this?
This is the part where you boogie. This is the part where you dance.
No, this is the part where we get dead serious and somewhat philosophical. You see, the Doom Guy, as the name suggests. No, I'm not going into identity politics, leave me alone. Doom Guy is just a guy. He was intentionally kept anonymous by Romero because he wanted the player, as in you, to feel like you are the Doom Guy. The game is designed to put you in the shoes of a man who has no idea what he has got himself into. You're just a person dropped into a random situation with a basic gun. While trying to push through all of it to find out what really happened to the rest of the base, he ventures knee-deep into the dead, going through hordes of demons and unlocking door after door, trying to unlock the mystery itself. By pushing forward, he reaches the shores of hell, after nearly dying at the portal at the end of episode 1 from an ambush. Though he was nearly dead, he pushed on and hell kept throwing whatever it could to stop him. Pushing into the deepest layers of hell, he finds the true big bad behind it all, an unholy combination of flesh and machinery that is leading the army of hell, the cyber demon. With perseverance, he defeats the cyber demon as well. Once he's dead, Doom Guy realizes that the only way to save Earth is to go to the source of it all, the endless inferno of hell, out of the frying pan into the fire. In hell, he literally fights through all of hell to get to the mastermind behind the invasion, another amalgamation of flesh and machine that is the Spider Mastermind. This one has weaponries to take you down, but also comes with enough intelligence to make enough plans to destroy your race 10 times over. But our character isn't stopping just here. He's here to end it once and for all, and so he does. He takes out the Spider Mastermind, finds a doorway that leads back to Earth, and heads back home. While he worries about Earth, he hopes that it is safe for now. Do keep in mind that throughout this entire narrative, he is just a simple person. Yes, he is military trained, but he is still an ordinary person with no superpowers. Just a human being, fighting a force that humankind has never faced or understood. And yet, he chose to push through all of it just to save mankind from near extinction. While the later sequels prove that his efforts in the first game were somewhat futile, you still have to appreciate the effort he made by giving it his all. And through an action game, we all learn a valuable lesson for our lives. Life is hard. No matter how safe or prepared you think you are, things will always go wrong. It's like the Murphy's Law. Things that can go wrong will go wrong. But you must neither give in nor give up, and always continue the efforts to move forward. You keep going till you reach the end goal, no matter what it takes. You may start as a simple person, but throughout your journey, through earning the experience of facing something as overwhelming as reality itself, and still choosing to stay on your path, you become someone tougher, someone stronger, who's ready to take on whatever's next. And that, my dear friends, is why Doom Guy is the most perfect protagonist in my eyes.